This poetry reading is for Kat. Rainstorms in our minds. I want to lasso the moon and give it to you on a gold platter. There's often too much happening for people to slow down and respect the atomic mushroom cloud that has become their lives. It's one excuse after another, and I wish when someone was mad at me, they would come clean and stop pitying me like Judy Garland in Judgment at Nuremberg. I'm a torch poet, which is vastly different than a torch singer. I don't inject anything into my body because needles have always been a point of contention for me. The point is, I desire to view you when you're exiting the bath, and I'm losing my mind in the folds of your inked skin. Sometimes I feel like you're my only cheerleader left, as my poetry goes the way of the dinosaurs, and an asteroid shows us exactly who is boss. I believe we were created at the time of the Big Bang, when all the kids were doing the twist, and rainstorms in our minds left us devoid of purpose or passion. We hung on for a millennium or two because we knew lost souls like us would someday come back into vogue. I need to kiss your Scottish mouth with everything I got before it gets too late and dawn mocks us for coming unprepared. Doug is drinking more and more water, which makes me feel so helpless and unstitched in these days of grape juice not from concentrate and prickly flowers you're better off smelling with your eyes. I love you. And when I say that, think of it as 3 words included in your lunchbox. That becomes a sanctuary. It becomes a sanctuary in that mailroom environment. It's one excuse after the next, and before you know it, all the black and white movies in existence cannot bring us back from the dead. The black hole had so much more color than I ever could have imagined, and we held hands, and the void drank us into infinity. Kitty Cat. This is for Catherine and for Van. She hears my poetry when hardly anyone pays attention. She makes the impossible possible with her miracle curves and groovy serpentine exchanges. She's not a snake, but when Catherine cracks her whip, rodents, rabbits, birds, insects, amphibians, frogs, or toads, eggs, other reptiles, fish, earthworms, all, or slugs, all hide beneath their beds, quaking in fear. Cat accepts me for who I am and doesn't ask me who that is. She celebrates my soul by sharing hers, and it always leaves me warm and fuzzy like I've just come out of the dryer and forgot to put in a dryer sheet. Her life is top secret, and everything's on a need-to-know basis. But I know she's opened up to me in ways no one else has ever experienced. She's radical like an alarm clock with no tolling bell. Because who wants to be a buzzkill, and what's the point of ruining someone else's unwaking state of sleepfulness? If it was up to me, we could ingest whatever we wanted into our bodies, because if you're stupid enough to knowingly ingest poison, then maybe even a set of guardrails won't save you from your very own death wish. One day, I hope to chance upon Cat on some back street where we can finally put down our television screen defenses and share the silence. cat celebration. Cat is the wind beneath all of our wings. Cat is the lighthouse guiding us home. Cat is a treasure chest full of booty. I've never met a muse with such unlimited reach. She's a superhero whose superpowers know no bounds. The way she inspires from across the pond is a miracle I'll forever be grateful for. Perpetual motion leaves me exhausted. A perpetual muse recharges my creative juices with the vim and vigor only a Scottish lass can and does provide. I need to make a cup of coffee and take my allergy medicine before the nausea stops me from writing this ode to a nightingale I'll forever be in debt to. Cat helps me to see light where there was only darkness, and leads me out of a cave that was my life and my endless solitude. She breaks ranks with all the other muses by giving an artist all the rope he or she needs, with no fear of a hanging in anyone's future. The first and only time I heard her voice, one time, it convinced me that not only are soulmates real, but they give you exactly what you need, without any Greek chorus to make you question all the unmitigated beauty you've been blessed with. Cat lassoed my heart like Jimmy Stewart did, and it makes me feel safe at a time when Safety Town has been closed because of COVID-19, and the only future we have to look forward to is one of more uncertainty. Sorry. I Love You Part 2. My president is a sociopath, and there's really not anything more to say about that. Listening to John Prine and thinking about you and priming your pump. I honestly don't know what that means, but please know I desire to be Natalie Wood to your James Dean. Start your engines. Start whatever passes as an automobile in these steamed and pressed times of fever-pitched ferocity and tuneless caterwauling. It's way past midnight, and I wish to drag race with you through your awoke mind and purring Scottish body. Something there is about the way you part your lips as you walk to and fro from work is beguiling, bewitching, and bedazzling. The ink covering your body covers my nightscapes as I brandish a nightstick like in the board game Clue. Murder is never something I would sign up for, and the same goes for public displays of affection in these saturated times of duress and social distancing. The Peter Principle has been weaponized as people take to the streets for haircuts and our civil liberties get sliced to ribbons by a public of wimps and wannabes. Turning over this basket of deplorables is long overdue, as we reap a harvest of rotten vegetables and freezer-burned ideals. It's time to call it quits, as this social experiment craps out, and my love for you burns in the window like a candle or Viking funeral. Hypersensitive for Cat. Excuse me. Hypersensitive. Lost in the waves of your wonder and superhero myth. The 3 wise men called and wanted their gifts back. They said something about a nation's genocide of their indigenous people, and that no matter how many rites are performed, they'll never undo the wrongs covered in so much innocent blood. I'm a lost little kitten who lost his mittens and will never feel safe until we've embarked on a journey to the center of the sun. Take my hand. This may be a fool. Let me get a glove. This may be a fool's errand, but I promise you, the geese we ride on will lay golden eggs, while the guiltless stand trial, and those who can no longer stomach one injustice after the next will take their final labored breath. This poem's a downer, and I wish I could call up Julie Andrews, but I hear even she had a dark side when Blake refused to listen and she finally had to draw a line in the quicksand. Lost in the wonderment of your wavy geometry. I wish I actually had paid attention in summer school and didn't just cheat on the tests. Stunned by your stone me grace and mercury mouth evocations. It's time to stand back and watch as you cast your spell. Evocation. I should have went with what I said. Marmalade. Thinking about you. Listening to Lady Day. Drinking a single espresso. Are your fingers sticky? Is your smile a paper moon? Do you remember Blueberry Hill? Thinking about you, listening to John Prine, crying alone in your cubicle. Fay Ray and King Kong. I'm Fay Ray. I'm Fay Ray. No way, I'm King Kong. Ding dong, Iggy Pop isn't dead, and I want to eat a hamburger with him. I want to move the earth with you, cat. I believe it's possible because my cup runneth over. As we stop revisiting our pasts, because doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. I've been in love with you even before Little Richard got religion, or the Holy Ghost recorded an album called Blonde on Blonde. It's true. I can kick the crap out of any blank page without even a second thought. But when it comes to looking you straight in your sock monkey almost eye saucers, I feel as light as a baby Jesus and as bright as a phoenix burning up. We shouldn't be afraid of the skyscrapers or the black helicopters buzzing around like some angry drone bumblebee, as fat as Belushi when he was full of cocaine and despair. I just happened upon the word Ouija, or Ouija, and I want to ask you about it, but I don't wish to offend. We come from two entirely different worlds, and yet still shared the same sun and moon. I'm Fay Ray, and I swallowed King Kong because I was hungry, and also because he was just a big ham. You are the sun, the moon, and stars, as you make my mind ice skate over a frozen lake of vipers and dung beetles. Imagining listening together to David Bowie, as we live our dreams, and our dreams possess us, like a Southern Baptist preacher's fire and brimstone sermons. Wake up, you sleepyhead. Rub your eyes. Get out of bed. Wake up. The wicked witch is dead. Yay! This one's for Vertigo and Cat. Doldrums. This root beer saved my life. I'm not embellishing in the least little bit. It's Virgil's because sometimes the cheap shit just won't do. Still thinking about you and that you're dead, Christopher. We weren't close, but we were both creative spirits, and like me, you always had a way of taming the shrews with such aplomb, and gorilla-like finesse. If there was an Olympic sport for publishing poetry, you'd be the Michael Phelps of the poetry galaxy. This root beer saved my life because it cut no corners when getting to my taste buds. Sometimes apathy sodomizes you so hard you forget what it's like not being a beast of someone else's burden. I want to slow dance with you under the Glasgow stars as we sweat out our vindictive vendettas and abandon love ransomware into the wet streets. The death of a friend, someone you only knew in the publishing sense of the word, can and will hit you like a ton of Gideon Bibles. I enjoyed our conversations on the way back and forth from North Royalton as he told me tales of what it's like to be him in this unvetted rainforest of scrambled romantics and hopeful artists. I'm gonna take another swig and another toke and try my damnedest to live inside of this miserable news by playing all the many Poets Haven hits back in my head. And just to mention but a few. Ether Bisque by Stephen Smith, Julie Ursa Marchand, Joni Soule, and Charles Cicirella. Another set of ripped out bloody pigtails by Juliet Cook. I'm going to try to pronounce this one. Andropomorphic by Summer Kurtz. Fragments from the Book of the After Dead by Herb Cauderer. From Frost to Phoenix by Crystal Clark. I'm going to spell that gentleman's name. Kauderer. His first name's Herb. Or Origami Lilies by Joshua Gage. Reckoning with Essential Bliss by Mark Mannheimer. Pomaholic by Azrael Johnson. Stanley's Investigative Services and Other Mysteries by Christina England. Corpus Lingua by Diane Borsanek. It Takes More Than Chance to Make Change by John Burroughs. Inside the Walls of a Blackened Book by A.J. Huffman. Her Haunted Hazel Eyes, Contradict Her Smile by Lynn Albert. Imaginary Conversations by Jen Pezzo. Anywhere Else But Here by Carla Thompson. I Wish by Skylark Bruce. 1,000 Voices, A City Shaman's Notebook by C.M. Brooks. Getting There by Jacob King. Cuddle Universe for Cat. Every Beatles song was written with her in mind, even the ones you can't kill to. There was a Blueberry Hill, and that's where I lost my thrill. Pat Gunn has built my last 2 desktops. He's always proven to be smarter than the AI he's studying. He takes direction like he was born in the theater. I have a headache, but it's my own damn fault. Some pot goes down easy, while other strains make you choke and take generic Advil. I'm going to wait before I jump to the conclusion this pot needs to be returned to sender. Shady deals in some rural outposts where inflatable swans float by like marshmallow clouds. I can't stop choking. Might be time to call the paramedics or a reformed rabbi. I desire to slide into her like a bookmark or the pointed tip of a tailor's very sharp needle. Milton Berle had a horse cock, and used to fuck Marilyn Monroe like a bowl of red borscht at the Russian tea room around noon after 8 o'clock. And I don't know why I'm mentioning that, other than I've been trying to fit his horse cock into a poem for what seems like decades now. Back to Cat Boyd and her astronomic wavelength, transmitting only to the rain dogs, who believe in universal health care for all animal, vegetable, and plant life. I slipped on a banana peel, and instead of laughing, we made pudding from our tears. I was too lazy to pick my own blueberries, so instead I ordered a short stack of blueberry hotcakes and pretended I was a captain of industry. Hipster doofus. We start this with a quote by Cat. They've wasted the word. Hipsters, clueless, always looking the wrong way, always expecting they're the ones setting the trends. Fuck what's trendy, fuck it right in the man bun, fuck it until their girlfriends realize they've been duped, fuck it until their girlfriends realize they haven't been fucked by an actual man in decades. Our faux existences will bite us in the ass sooner than later. That's the way civilizations crumble when hard knocks are traded in for rose-tinted contact lenses and elbow grease transmogrifies into appeasement. Transmogrifies into appeasement. I'm a hipster. Look at me with all my money and empty brain pan. I'm a hipster. Watch as my friends follow me over the cliff, and I die, smirking with a little spittle on my shaggy chin. Hipsters, dipsters, always challenging the status quo by not moving a single muscle, and believing they're shaping the culture with their Falstaff white flags. Always expecting more from the pot, when in reality they have contributed nothing to a society unimpressed by their awesomeness. Wabbit. Adjective. Scottish. Exhausted or slightly unwell. I'm feeling a bit wabbit. Told me wabbit was my next poem, and I followed her because she hasn't been wrong yet. Leads me by my consonants and vowels like a roulette wheel to the liberated stars. I was broken down, I was busted, and only her context pulled me through the meat and potatoes storm. Came out of the Facebook ether like a traveling salesman. Came out of the Facebook ether like a traveling salesman in a Maisels documentary where youth springs eternal. Once you open the gray door and buy a Bible from a thief in the gas chamber night. They broke the windows and did their worst because vigilante justice is oftentimes the only way to make your point when justice has been skewed for those wearing white pointy hoods. Sometimes I like to go out into the middle of the night like Mary Tyler Moore, throw my head up in the air and scream, "I'm a Jew, hear me roar." Nothing feels better than when her invisible self sits on my invisible lap and we swap stories of our storied childhoods. When you find someone who champions you, no matter how apoplectic you are, it's time for you to put a ring on that finger and to settle down. Even though I'm not Scottish, I knew what she meant when she was feeling quite wobbly and wabbit, and it made me wish I could hold her tight until she again felt right or the world burned all around us. Thank you for seeing me. The poetry is right here, waiting to be peeled like a grape. I was catatonic, nonplussed, broken into sections of bitter resentment. You exploded upon my cosseted scene like a freedom rider into the segregated South. I don't want to stop believing, but sometimes you have no other choice. In fact, that's not true, and belief must never be ending, like Mickey Mouse enthusiasm. She appeared before me as a hologram, and I knelt down and I seriously prayed. This poem is coming out in fits and starts, like a murder of crows or the assassination of a very bad peanut. I watched from afar as he painted the burning visions in his wheat field head. She poured the turpentine onto her thirsty brushes, like it was Gatorade, and took a sip. I want to drink from Cat's loving cup while wearing a blindfold. There's nothing wrong with channeling ghosts, as long as the ghosts don't go postal and turn you into a haunted house. You told me you were shy, but nothing could have been further from the truth when you taught me a new language with your hands and feet bound to my consciousness. You mean the world to me, Catherine, and I love you.